friends, my colleagues, members of families, this morning I am very delighted that you have found time to join me in witnessing the swearing in of our 3 newly appointed cabinet secretaries who are now ready to take up their duties and to serve the people of Kenya. Without exception, all 3 of the new cabinet secretaries have extensive and diverse experience in both executive and legislative facets of our public service. For this reason, I am confident in the skills and capabilities that they bring to their new roles. I served with Honorable Kabogo and Honorable Kagwe in the National Assembly when they were elected to the 9th Parliament, and Honorable Kinyanjui later joined the legislature in the 10th Parliament. In addition to Honorable Kinyanjui's tenure as Assistant Minister, both he and Honorable Kabogo have served as Chief Executives of devolved governments. Honorable Kagwe, on the other hand, served in the Senate and was a cabinet member in 2 previous administrations. Both Honorable Kagwe and Honorable Kinyanjui have also chaired the boards of strategic national parastatals. With their strong mix of leadership skills and extensive experience in political, legislative, and executive capabilities, these cabinet secretaries are very well equipped to mobilize the machinery of government, drive them to deliver services to the people of Kenya, while steering inclusive development and economic growth that leaves no one behind. I wish to remind all of us that 2 years and 4 months ago, we secured our governing mandate based on an ambitious plan to propel our nation towards a prosperous future. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda is now well underway, with intensive and extensive work being carried out across the country in all priority value chains and cross-cutting enablers that constitute its strategic pillars. Thousands of new housing units are being built across Kenya, employing hundreds of thousands of people, facilitating transformative industrial growth in many supply chains in the construction sector, and providing opportunities for decent. It's also providing us with the opportunity to reduce on land fragmentation that is threatening our food security. On the other hand, productivity in agriculture and livestock has enabled sufficiency and self-sufficiency in critical crops, including maize and sugar, while community health promoters are actively delivering timely and quality primary health care services at the grassroots level as we make unprecedented strides in the universal health coverage plan. The digital and creative economy of our strategy is delivering last-mile fiber optic networks and digital hubs in every ward. Thousands of Kenyans have already tapped into the opportunities this sector offers, and we are only getting started. The hustler economy is also undergoing unprecedented transformation as we promote financial and regulatory inclusivity through our Hustler Fund and related regulatory frameworks. This ambitious transformation is unfolding in what we see as challenging economic times, marked by volatility in the prices of essential commodities, especially petroleum, while global conflicts, geopolitical disruptions in supply chains, and also in the context of an oppressive debt crisis fueled by an unfair global financial system, and extreme weather patterns that is exacerbated by climate change. These factors have complicated our post-pandemic recovery, constrained fiscal space, and diverted resources from development to debt payment, disaster recovery, and climate action. As a result, our capacity to create opportunities at a pace that addresses unemployment for the growing youth population has been severely undermined. In this daunting context, the people of Kenya have tasked us with the responsibility of undertaking a historic transformation. We acknowledge the complex and dynamic challenges before us, but we remain determined to see through the implementation of our transformation agenda. This moment calls for extraordinary ability, strength of character, steadiness of purpose, clarity of mind, and devotion to our national values and principles of governance. Also demands unity, teamwork, synergy, and goodwill within and among various teams and organizations that comprise government. The cabinet is at the heart of this ecosystem. I therefore expect you to serve the people of Kenya with dedication, professionalism, fairness, and understanding. Specifically to my three friends. We know each other very well, and we've come a distance together. And I know for not this administration, but for the people of Kenya. At the Ministry of Agriculture, which I have some experience, there is underway a major transformation, a shift from consumption subsidies to production support. I was very impressed to see the Honorable Kagwe take on the questions from members of parliament with great understanding of where we want to go from here. And I am sure and confident that the transformation in the agricultural sector that is necessary from enhancing productivity, adding value to what we produce, and finding the routes to market for what we have produced is going to be front and center of your leadership of the team at the Ministry of Agriculture. Just to confirm to you that the procurement of fertilizer has already been undertaken. I will look up to you for leadership on how this fertilizer is going to get to every farmer to make sure that we eliminate any impediments, any shortcomings, the correct fertilizer to the correct farmers. And we have already seen evidence of what making sure that fertilizer is available and affordable, the kind of difference it has made in the productivity of our farmers. I am also clearly aware that you will pick up on matters to do with livestock. We did commit to the dairy farmers, for example, that we will be paying a minimum of 50 shillings. That has been done over the last 6 months. I will look forward to your leadership in making sure that that moves forward. In tea, just to inform you that maybe your first call this afternoon, we have tea that is stuck at the port of Mombasa. And yesterday I was talking to your team at the Ministry of Agriculture. We need to find out what are the issues that is causing the clog-up of tea at the port of Mombasa. And the good news around that space is that we enhanced our earnings from tea this last year from 180 billion to 210 billion. and farmers are expecting us to look at the future, and they expect us to do better in the coming year. I have no doubt that you have what it takes to take that forward. We have just concluded 2 days ago comprehensive economic partnership agreement with the UAE that provides us a big market for dairy products, for agricultural products. The trade between us and the UAE is almost 370 billion Kenyan shillings. A big majority of that is coming from our agricultural sector. With the signing of the comprehensive partnership agreement with the UAE, we expect our numbers of export of especially livestock and livestock products to increase. And I'm very happy that you're seized with the matters that will assist us access those markets, making sure that our products meet the sanitary and phytosanitary requirements for the markets that we are focused on, making sure that our meat, dairy, and other products also meet the standards that are required. I am very confident that the challenge we've had persuading farmers to vaccination, you have what it takes. You've done it before with the vaccinations that were there. And I was very happy that you made the position, you took the position, which I share, that it's a voluntary exercise and nobody will be forced to do anything. All we want is to make sure that our products meet the very high standards set by our markets. The same thing in the rest of the value chains in coffee. Me and you have already discussed the future of what we need to do in coffee, what we need to do with the avocados, what we need to do in the many other aspects. And of course, the partnership that is going to be there between the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Industry, providing the ecosystem for market access for the produce from our farmers. And that takes me to my younger brother, Lee. As you may be aware, your ministry will be handling the opening of more markets. Apart from the market we just concluded in the UAE, we're now having a robust conversation with the United States. I had a meeting yesterday with senators from the United States and asking for their support, both on the extension of the Africa Growth and Opportunities Act, which you are very well aware about, that will continue to open markets for our goods and services to the United States on a duty-free and quota-free arrangement. I will be looking to your leadership for our team at the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Industry on concluding those negotiations and making sure that the AGOA market continues to be open, and also on concluding the discussions on the STEEP negotiations, the bilateral arrangement between Kenya and the United States. I will also be looking for your leadership in making sure that we take full advantage of the coming into force of the tripartite agreement between COMESA and EAC and SADC, which came into force 6 months ago, I think in June last year, and how Kenyan products can access the huge 1.4 billion African market. I will also be looking for your leadership in making sure that we conclude the 200 plus markets that we are building around the country, and working with devolved units, which fortunately you have been an executive in one of them, to make sure that our farmers have access to decent spaces for them to carry out their business. We did promise Mama Mboga that they are going to work from a space that has hygiene, that is decent, that has water, that has electricity, that has lighting. And already 200 of those markets are underway. We will be working with your ministry to make sure that we look at making sure that that market ecosystem reaches as many of our producers as possible. I will also be looking for your leadership in matters to do with processing of what the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock will be producing. You are aware, working with counties, we have 47 county aggregation and industrial parks. There is already a conversation between Government of Kenya and Government of India on how to equip those county aggregation and industrial parks and to establish common user facilities that will enable farmers and producers access to processing capabilities, value addition capabilities in that ecosystem. So there will be a full in-tray for you on how those will come into force. I will also be looking forward to you providing leadership on our special economic zones. As you are aware, we are establishing 6 new special economic zones in Dongo Kundu, in Sagana, in Thika, in Nakuru, both in Njoro and in Naivasha, in Eldoret, and in Busia. And just to give you a heads up, we will be in Busia on Wednesday, and probably you may want to find details of how that is going. I'm told it's going very well. But you will need to provide leadership in making sure that we conclude the first phase of all the special economic zones that we set out, because these are important for processing, value addition, agro business, and also providing opportunities for our young people to work. There is much more than I've just told you. I've just given you a heads up on some of the headline issues that we will be focusing on. And as part of building the ecosystem that will support the transformation of Kenya, which I am determined to oversee, and to make sure that we create as many opportunities for business people, for people who want to work. And that takes me to my brother William, namesake. In that space, your hands are full, William. Your hands are full. Because on your table you will find our connectivity plan. We made a commitment to roll out 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic across Kenya. We already have funding amounting to 48 billion to roll out the first 53,000 kilometers, and we intend to conclude that process of rollout before the end of next year. Working with KPLC, ICTA, and your ministry, you will find that there are already contracts that have been signed. You must walk the 53,000 kilometers and make sure that it's delivered. There is already funding for another 100 centers of excellence of our ICT hubs, 1 per county, and in other counties 2. This again, our plan is to make sure that it is concluded. These 100 centers of excellence. It's concluded in the next 6 months. You will find that the contracts have already been signed, and your leadership is required so that we can conclude this exercise. And again, you will find in your table another 1,450 ICT hubs, one in every ward in the Republic of Kenya. The members of parliament, the leader of majority is here, have already been primed. We have made resources available to them, but you will be required to provide the infrastructure, internet, make sure they are connected. You will provide the computers, and you provide the people to train our young people in those ICT hubs. Good news also is that you will find on your desk that already the World Bank and the government of Kenya have provided resources for 145,000 computers for these ICT hubs. Communication Authority is providing the first 10,000 resources for the first 10,000. The World Bank is going to provide resources for 50,000 computers. And of course, the government of Kenya is going to provide resources for the balance. I will be looking to working with you to make sure that we conclude all these arrangements. If there are any loose ends, to be tied. And the good news also is that because we are building an ecosystem to make sure that the ICT space, the technology space, the digital space becomes a space for work and for commerce. And just to make sure that that proceeds in the manner in which we have envisioned, Teleperformance, the largest business processing outsourcing company in the world, is now setting up shop in Kenya. And it will be a good place for you to work with them, work with the others, CCI, Summersource, and all the other BPOs in Kenya. They have given us an undertaking that over the next 5 years, we should be able to have between 300,000 and 500,000 jobs created under the BPO ecosystem. We just need to tie up some loose ends. One of them is to make sure that the legislative framework that did not recognize BPO as a sector, especially on matters to do with labor relations, is captured. Already a lot of work has been done. I think the Attorney General will brief you on what you need to do so that we can take steps to Parliament and properly recognize in our legislation the BPO sector as a sector that employs people. The current law only recognizes people employed on a permanent and pensionable basis with a letter of employment from somebody. This space operates differently, and therefore we need to capture it and to work towards making sure that we provide opportunities. Between the BPO sector, Waziri, and all the other online workers, our expectation is that we should be able to have at least 1.5 million people working in that digital space. Already, a lot of work is going on in our TVETs. There are some already set up ICT hubs, and I'm very confident that under your leadership, we will be able to create the necessary environment for the young people of Kenya to take up their talents, their energy, and their expertise in the digital space to work, to create commerce, to do business, and to move forward. I am also confident that with a cloud policy that has already been forwarded to Cabinet. We will be discussing that initiative in the next Cabinet on Tuesday next week, so that we can also provide the legal framework to support the whole industry. And also to mention that already the digital and the ICT ecosystem is providing manufacturing capacity in manufacturing phones and other gadgets. And I will expect you to oversee what interventions and incentives government can provide for us to move into the future. Allow me, therefore, to say that I expect you to serve the people of Kenya with dedication, professionalism, fairness, and understanding. While we must be firm and effective in our actions, we should also approach our engagements with compassion and patience, particularly when communicating with the public. We must also do more to minimize misunderstandings and enlist all citizens in the collective task of national transformation. With limited fiscal space and ongoing austerity measures, many are being asked to make do with less than expected. It is important that we consistently clarify the state of affairs and articulate our vision, embracing short-term austerity for long-term prosperity, while prioritizing investment in the multipliers of opportunity and abandoning expenditure on consumption. To articulate this position effectively, we must be transparent, accountable, and efficient in managing public resources. We must be excellent stewards of public funds, taking a strong stand against corruption and wastage. As the implementation phase of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda progresses, we must get it right every time. I trust in your ability, readiness, and willingness to provide effective leadership, and look forward to benefiting from your true and faithful counsel. I urge you to live up to the oath you have just taken every day, to obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all the laws, to serve the people with honor and dignity, and to hold your office with the highest integrity. Most importantly, I hope you will strive to be the strongest and most reliable link in the chain of the executive. I trust that you will be the officers to rely on for wisdom, strength, clarity, and courage. For my part, I commit to provide you with all the support, encouragement, and resources as I do to the rest of my team in Cabinet, so that you can excel in your duties and deliver to the people of Kenya. My very best wishes, and I look forward to working with you. Asanteni sana.